Everybody's, I'm just get right into it. Everybody's been giving their opinions on this garbage movie, Coming to America Part 2, this past Friday on Amazon Prime. I don't even know where to start. This movie was just trash. It was poorly written, poorly produced. It was just a bunch of actors, just balled up into one. It was like a free for all with a whole bunch of corny, cheesy jokes. And, obviously everybody was disappointed, including myself, and of course everybody, naturally, questions are being asked because everybody's perplexed at why, after such a long time, they came out with this, decided to come out with this garbage. And I think I figured it out. Um, Eddie Murphy, obviously, he's been out since the early 80s. He's been out, going on 40 years now. And when you look at his filmography, um, dating back quite a while now, um, he really hasn't done that much over the past 20 years. Like, the vast majority of pretty much all the good movies that he did were like way back. Here we go, I found it. Okay, way back in the 80s, dating back to 1982. That was the year I was born, making 48 hours. Um, he's made some good movies, obviously Trading Places, Beverly Hills Cop, Golden Child, Beverly Hills Cop 2. Look at all that. Coming to America, Eddie Murphy Raw. Those are straight classics. Harlem Nights, another 48 hours. Boomerang, and Distinguished Gentleman. I mean, he really came out with a lot of good, movies. Even Vampire in Brooklyn was pretty decent. It was, had some good parts. The Nutty Professor was cool. I mean, he had really some nice, you know, roles. Look at that Life, Bowfinger, The Nutty Professor. But ever since 2000, ever since the year 2000, like, what has he came out with? The Professor 2, Clumps, that was alright, but that was like a sequel, so, way it's like that kind of don't matter. He did voiceovers with Shrek, Dr. Doolittle 2, just a bunch of just bullshit movies, really, when compared to what he did back in the day, in the 80s and 90s. Just, a bunch of garbage. Like, I didn't even hear about these movies until they, recently mentioned it, um, with the release of Coming to America. I never heard of Dolomite Is My Name or Mr. Church or A Thousand Words, Heist, Tower Heist, Shrek Forever. That's a voiceover. So then, Shrek the Third, like, just, you look at all these movies, man, it's just pretty much bullshit. Like, so you gotta ask yourself, what the fuck has he done over the past 20 years? He's just made a bunch of bullshit. And what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of these actors, of course, they hide their financial situation from the public. It's obviously none of the public's business, but they want to, present this persona and that they're doing, very good. They have to put up the, facade that they're living in these big mansions and driving, all these fancy cars and, flying around in private jets and shit like that, but, um, behind the curtain, their financial situations, a lot of times are fucked up. Um, a few years ago, I was watching I was reading something online about, uh, Robin Williams. His situation, his financial situation was, bleak, um, and that contributed to him, committing suicide. Yeah, he may have owned you know, you know, expensive properties, primarily in Northern California. Actually, not too far from where I live. He's owned properties in Napa, Napa Valley, which is the prestigious wine region of California, and also he's owned. He has property in San Francisco, Marin County that are valued in the hundreds of millions of dollars. But what people don't understand is like even though you on paper you own them, but at the same time you have taxes on those properties, uh, and then of course there's going to be mortgages on those properties, and a lot of times these actors have business dealings that's outside of um, their Hollywood work, uh, and so what happens is they may have 30, $40 million in the bank, or even $100 million in the bank. But at the same time, they may owe you know tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in debt. You know, Another perfect example would be Donald Trump. Donald Trump, he owns properties all over the world, but at the same time, he doesn't own those properties outright. He has loans on those properties, outstanding loans on those properties. Like there was, talking about, it was heavily in the news that he owed hundreds of millions of dollars to Deutsche Bank, out of the Netherlands or Germany, and so that's proof in pudding that it's not always what you seem like. Their financial situation is not always what it seems. They may be worth a lot of money, but at the same time, they owe other people a lot of money. And I truly believe that based upon, you know, the bullshit amount of work that he's done over the past 20 years, and given the fact that, he has a lot of children, a lot of people depend on him, and, you know, uh, that divorce with his first wife cost him a lot of money. And I truly believe that this movie was nothing other than a money grab. I mean, I don't know how much evidence that I have to support my claim. I mean, I've already showed you his filmography. Look at his filmography again. In the 80s, as you can see, these are all pretty good movies. Pretty good filmography. This is like an A. You know, if I were to give all these grades that he did in the 80s, overall an A minus, bare minimum. Of course, there's going to be some C graded movies, some B graded movies, but overall, Eddie Murphy got an A in the 80s. In the 90s, he still did good. Not as great as the 80s, but he still did good. Movies like Boomerang were pretty good. The Distinguished Gentleman, The Nutty Professor was good. Vampire Brooklyn was all right. I didn't see Dr. Dolittle. Um, Life was good. Bowfinger I thought was all right. The Nutty Professor with the Clumps. He did a B grade, but when you look at what he's done over the past 20 years, you know, with Shrek and Dr. Dolittle 2 and The Adventures of Pluto Nash, like a lot of these movies, like the Shreks, those are voiceovers. Norbit did good ratings, um, and a lot of these, like, look at this, Mr. Church. I never even heard of that. 1,000 Words, never heard of it. Tower Heist, never heard of it. He was just maybe, and he doesn't even look like he was a lead actor. He looked like he was a supporting actor of Ben Stiller. Is that Ben Stiller? Yep. So I truly believe that Eddie Murphy. I'm not saying that he's he's broke. I know the man is worth money. I know he's got tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. But what I'm saying is the man could still have, business dealings that he could have gotten loans on that may have, that may still have, he still may owe tens of millions of dollars on those loans. And so I'm pretty sure that this movie was a way in which enabled him to, you know, if not pay off his whole entire balance, at least a huge chunk of whatever outstanding balance that he has due on his loan. And another thing is, you take a look at Arsenio Hall. He hasn't done too much of anything either. You know, I mean, he came back and had his own night show, and it got canceled for the second time, and that was several years ago, in which he got his um his show canceled again. So you gotta wonder, like, what has he been doing to make money? Let me see here. Arsenio Hall. Arsenio Hall. Show canceled. Damn, Arsenio Hall's old. He's 65 years old. So the second series got canceled in 2014. So it ended. It only had 2 seasons. Damn, that was a 19-year run between the two shows. Wow. Damn. It said canceled after 1 season. Damn. Yeah, so it was widely reported that he was canceled the first time because of his interview with Louis Farrakhan. But, shit, that's just the way it is, you know. Motherfuckers don't like, Louis Farrakhan. They don't like those black supremacist motherfuckers. And that's just the way it is. But anyway, I ain't gonna keep y'all too late. But I just gotta say, man, the movie was garbage. It was lame. I wish I would have never seen it. I wish they would have just left it alone. And yeah, the movie just straight up sucked, man. Man, I don't even want to start where this movie went wrong. I just knew, like, when I first started watching the movie, uh, I just knew that upon watching the movie, uh, from the first couple of minutes, that it was gonna suck, man. I just knew that it was gonna suck. And for those of you who have not seen it, um, all I gotta say is, don't watch this movie expecting uh, that you're going to be entertained and it's going to be anything like the first one, because you won't get that type of reaction from it at all. It's just garbage. It's just garbage. So I'm going to end it on that note. And if you like the video, it'll only take a second to hit the thumbs up. That way it'll gain more traction and other people will see it. And subscribe, because there will be other videos come up. As you can tell, I'm pretty tired. So without further ado, good night to all, and to all a good night.